Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am reacting to your Left 4 Dead 2 hot takes. This is a video series where I give you guys a platform to list your thoughts and opinions about the Left 4 Dead 2 universe, and if you would like to participate in this series in the next episode, you guys can leave a comment here in the comment section down below, or also alternatively, you can leave it within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. If you guys end up enjoying today's video by the end, please make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe if you are new, but let's read some Left 4 Dead hot takes. I think the gore system is slightly over-exaggerated and unrealistic with the bullets. How does a 5.56mm M16 cause an infected individual to lose their entire limb? Not to mention how the special infected don't get affected at all beyond the bullet decals. Okay, before I say anything, I would just like to clarify something. I am not a gun expert by any means, so any gun fanatics out there, please do not crucify me if I mispronounce something or if I say something that doesn't exactly make sense. This is what I think. I think that, yes, even though the guns may not make perfect sense all the time, it's okay for it to not always make sense and be a little bit over the top sometimes. I think that if you were to make the guns so realistically rigid that certain things like body parts wouldn't fly off when you shoot a zombie with a gun, it would feel like the German copy of Left 4 Dead that got censored, where they got rid of any body dismemberment or even blood for that matter in the game, and it made people feel like they were getting almost an inferior copy, that it was not the full real Left 4 Dead. They were being given something that wasn't up to what they expected standards wise. And so I feel like even though yes, the gore might not make the most sense sometimes, it just makes it a fun added element to the game. I mean, shit, one of the most subscribed mods on the Steam Workshop is a gore amplifier that makes the gore even more detailed and even more over the top. So it tells you that people really like their zombies to be Michael Bay body dismembered. So I think that there's a appeal to it for some people, and there definitely is some people like you, such as yourself, that don't necessarily care for it to be that over the top. It's just really a matter of preference, but I would like to believe that if you play the PC copy, that if there is a mod that makes the gore even crazier, there's probably one that also disables it. So if you like more realistic physics, I like to believe that there is a mod out there for you. As good as Left 4 Dead 2 is, it missed the point. The original campaigns were creepy and unnerving, and many times I found myself mourning the world the infected destroyed, especially in the Blood Harvest farmhouse and the Dead Air airport. In comparison, Left 4 Dead 2 was so fun that I just ended up feeling like an unstoppable badass instead of sorrowful. Yes, the dichotomy about Left 4 Dead. We talk about this sometimes occasionally here on the channel, where how that Left 4 Dead 1 was more creepy and unnerving because it basically made you feel like you were alone and weaker in comparison to the special infected, and then Left 4 Dead 2's case, it was you felt like you had at least a little bit more people in the world, and you also didn't feel necessarily as weak because you had more options. And that's the thing with Left 4 Dead, is that the first game and the second game are just different. There's no ifs, ands, and ways around it. It's even noticeable when you play the Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns in the second game, where it just doesn't exactly feel the same. And with that being said, I don't necessarily think that the lack of scare factor in the second game is a result of the campaigns, because if it was just strictly based off the campaigns, plugging the Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns into Left 4 Dead 2 would make the game feel scary, but it feels like it's still missing something. I instead think that the reason why Left 4 Dead 1 was more creepy than Left 4 Dead 2 was because the characters, and also the fact that we believed that the world had little to nobody left. Think about it this way, you gave some really good examples about how that the Dead Air and the Blood Harvest campaigns have like this eerie dread feeling about them. And I like to believe that's because you think about how that these places used to be very much populated with people, and now it's a ghost town, it's dead, it's just eerie, because you see these things where people should be in high numbers and there's nobody. Think about it this way, if you also ended up plugging, like, let's say the Left 4 Dead 2 characters into these Left 4 Dead 1 maps, their voice lines would just make the map not as serious and therefore take you out of the immersion. I feel like the Left 4 Dead 1 maps wouldn't be as scary if Coach was talking about cheeseburgers and Ellis was reminiscing about Keith the entire time. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a mixture of the characters and also the characters' beliefs. So I feel like if you really wanted to make the Left 4 Dead maps more scary, you need to either A, make it where occasionally on some maps the personalities of the Left 4 Dead 2 crew had changed and became more serious, like how they do on the Parish when they realize that, hey, the military is killing people, maybe they could have had more serious voice lines and therefore that map would be more creepy. Or you could just have it where there was also another cast of characters like the Left 4 Dead 1 crew, and they rotated them in with some of the other maps. So you could have the Left 4 Dead 1 characters, the Left 4 Dead 2 characters, and a third crew be somewhere in between the two. Some custom maps are good, but don't line up to Valve's style, if that makes sense. No, yeah, that makes sense. I can totally see what you mean. I'm assuming you're referring to Coldstream and The Last Stand, given the fact that those maps were originally modded maps and were not exactly made by Valve. They just got their blessing from Valve. And Coldstream and The Last Stand definitely do feel slightly different than the other existing Left 4 Dead maps. Heck, they even feel slightly different to each other. And I feel like that's fine. It makes Left 4 Dead feel like it has a fresh coat of paint, honestly, because if it was just more of the same after, like, you know, several years of not receiving an update, I feel like that would make it feel a little boring, honestly. Think about it. If Left 4 Dead got an update, sure, it'd be nice to reminisce and have nostalgia, but if it was too much of the same, people would find it boring, and if it's too new, then people would find it too shocking. You gotta find that sweet spot. I just look at it from the perspective of like, hey, I mean, I know it's not a Valve map technically, but I'm just grateful that we're still getting content for this game after all this time. Sniper rifles are not the best to use. If it's the bolt actions that you're referring to, yeah, I totally understand. I hate the bolt action snipers. They're one of the only few guns in Left 4 Dead that I basically refuse to use. But the hunting rifle and the military sniper, I feel like that definitely is a hot take because those are really popular guns. I love that the way that they function is basically like a shotgun with a sniper scope, because since you pretty much hip fire in Left 4 Dead a majority of the time, I would like to believe that the military sniper is a all-purpose gun, as an example, where I can be able to hip fire and also be able to zoom in and snipe things at a distance, basically making myself able to end up handling any engagement from any range. I really can't think of an example of where I didn't like having a military sniper or a hunting rifle, because they're pretty much a universally beloved gun and useful in all circumstances. Gas cans should be able to refill chainsaws, and I do agree with this, and here is why. Because a majority of the time, I just skip the chainsaw. It's a very, very good gun, but a lot like the M60, since it's going to run out of fuel very, very fast, and you can't refill it, it's a temporary weapon, and you will eventually go back to a singular pistol, and I don't want to have a good gun for only a few seconds. I rather would have a jack-of-all-trades gun that I can use consistently throughout the entire campaign. If the chainsaw was able to last longer by refilling it up with gas, that would make it a more valuable gun in my opinion. And I know that nobody's really going to necessarily care for this example, but maybe there is somebody who knows. They did this sort of in Back 4 Blood with one of their guns, where they had a flamethrower that you could get, and it also refilled with gas cans. And that gun was one of the best in the entire game, and if you found a gas can, you could just keep it going indefinitely, and that was a really fun and useful gun to use in that game. So I would like to imagine, with some balancing over time, this could also therefore work for the chainsaw. Here's my hot take. As much as I like the Left 4 Dead comic, there are some flaws and plot holes that really bother me. First of all, the comic never explains where the virus came from in the first place. Is it from animals like cows or birds? Biological weapon? All things we know is that it's an airborne green flu. Lewis being a character that came up with an idea to make a homemade pipe bomb is a bit unlogical, and that role should have been given to Bill instead. Of course, he was a Vietnam War veteran who had more survival experience. If Church Guy takes as long as he does to get infected after being bitten, then why does Zoe's mom get infected in just seconds? Is it because she was bitten on the face, so the infection time is faster? I also hate how that the comics made Zoe as the most tragic character in the group instead of Bill or Francis. Losing her parents and shooting her father and finding out that her father was immune, attempting to save other people but failing, and having an argument with Bill leaving the doctor behind feels out of place since her personality is the most positive and charming in-game. Clearly different compared to the in-comic depiction. She doesn't even have any badass moments in her backstory, unlike the other characters. A better one should be where Zoe was at university watching her friends slowly getting infected and she bashed them with melee weapons or something. I know it's unrealistic and less shocking, but it would be more awesome and original rather than having a classic cliche average zombie movie / game where every girl protagonist always has a sad backstory of losing their parents tragically. The comic did her dirty, to be honest. The comic also contradicted with the passing campaign, since Francis, Lewis, and Zoe know the military is corrupted. Then why not ever explain that or elaborate more to the Left 4 Dead 2 survivors and instead just let them go to New Orleans with the military? Because of that, the Left 4 Dead 2 survivors will end up being treated so badly by the military and get executed. However, this is just my opinion. Tell me if there are some mistakes, etc. Love your content as always. Thank you, man. Definitely appreciate that. I mean, honestly, dude, you're just 100% right with this comment. I mean, I wasn't looking for plot holes, but now that you point them out to me, yeah, there's quite a few plot holes in the comic for Left 4 Dead. I especially like the fact that you pointed out the contradiction to the passing campaign, because that was one thing I always did notice, and it did slightly bother me. The only possible thing that comes to my mind to prevent this from being written into a corner is that the way that the ending was, where that Zoe basically became the replacement for Bill when he died, and basically leaned into what he said about we need to keep track of our own, and the Left 4 Dead survivors maybe got hard and just tried to only look after themselves. That's the only real thing I can think of, but I feel like they haven't lost their humanity to that degree. They still get along really, really good with the Left 4 Dead 2 crew. It's not like that they shoot them where they stand or don't even remotely try to help them. I mean, hell, there's that relationship back and forth between both Francis and Rochelle and Zoe and Ellis. And then Lewis is just a really nice sweetheart of a guy. So I can't really envision them being that cold-hearted and not even giving them a slight inkling or hint or something. There's a voice line that kind of pisses me off a bit, where the Left 4 Dead 2 characters are talking about meeting up with the military in New Orleans, and they're like, yeah, nah, we've had enough of the military. And then they don't elaborate any further. It's like they don't elaborate on the interrogations, the fact that their life felt threatened, the fact that they wanted to do tests on them. They don't hint at that like whatsoever at any point. Maybe what they could do one day is that they can make another comic and have it be from the perspective of the Left 4 Dead 2 crew, or maybe figure out some way to like make the Left 4 Dead 1 crew and Left 4 Dead 2 crew like meet up again and then talk about like their experiences with the military. Who knows? But yeah, man, good observation. I really never noticed this until you pointed it out to me. So yeah, guys, that is it here for today's video, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. If you guys have a hot take of your own, just please leave it here in the comment section down below, or within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. And as we wrap up the video, guys, just want to mention two quick things. Number one, I have a second YouTube channel now. It is called Black Ninja 797 Extras. And on this channel, I'm going to be uploading and posting additional content that you would normally not see here on my main channel, such as gameplay walkthroughs, funny moments with my friends, and Challenge Accepted, which was a series I used to do here on my main channel where I played games that you guys requested me to play. If you guys want to check out my second channel, there is a link down below in this video's description. And also, I want to say thank you and shoutouts to Epic Games for being my first ever sponsor. I have a supporter creator code with them, and the code is just my name, Black Ninja 797 in all caps. And if you guys want to, you can use it in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops. Anybody that uses my code or has used it before in the past, I tremendously appreciate you. And all that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers are ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!